Hi and welcome to the next instalment of Magoos Corner. I'm your host Trevor Gregg. So we'll go through the Division 5 reserves for this week. So we go through last week's results and also preview next week's. And it's all thanks to australiasports.com, where you get your weekly magazine, the SA Footballer. So keep an eye out for it, and also subscribe so you can get it sent to you straight away. So it's an opportunity for the guys in the reserves competition to get your name up in lights and get some recognition for your efforts on a Saturday. It's the first time that the reserves competition has had any sort of notoriety in this format. So get on board. It's a great magazine. It's a good read. So the first game for this week in Div 5, we had Greenacres, the Dragons, taking on the Elizabeth Eagles at Greenacres. So unfortunately for Greenacres, they were 6-9-45, get defeated by Elizabeth 11-8-74. Goal kickers for Elizabeth, we had Cotter with 4, Payne, Clark and Tully with 2 apiece, and a couple of extra boys also chipping in. Best players were Tully, Clark and Packham. So nice work there, boys. We've got Greenacres with Coombe with 2, Lamb, Tilly and Stark also chipping in, and best players was Collins, Carver, Perham, Dawson and Stark also chipping in there. So it's a nice win by Elizabeth. We'll see how they go next week when they take on Blackfriars, but yeah, not a bad result. So we'll see what happens there. With Greenacres just chipping in, but I still believe that they're a little bit off the mark from what I saw. I know you can't take much from round 1, but a little bit off the mark still. So hopefully they can get up and about over the next few weeks. The second game we had Rosewater versus Para Hills at Eric Sutton Oval down there at Rosewater was 6-16-52. to Para Hills 1-4-10, so a convincing win there by the Doggies reserves. Again, goal kickers, Johnson Schroeder with 3, still in the B grade. We've got Cooper and McPherson also chipping in with 1 apiece. Best players, Jacobson, Adam Rumbelow also getting in there at Bachelor, getting in, and Johnson Schroeder getting in the best players. Still believe he is way better a player to be sitting in Div 5 reserves, but hopefully he can get up and about and get up in the ones. But that just goes to show that it is not just easy getting into Rosewater's ones, because they've got a lot of talent, a lot of blokes that have come to the club, follow Chef, yeah, as I said earlier, I had an opportunity to sit down and have a chat with Chef when I looked and had watched their round 1. Yeah, very fascinating, very insightful bloke. So yeah, it's good work by him out there to get that club up and about. Goal kickers for Para Hills, 1 person, which was Jamal. Best players was McKelliff, Davison and Hartwell. So it's a one-sided affair, and I think it will also be the same next week, but they do have the home game, so it may be a little bit in favour for the guys out there at Para Hills, but unlikely. Next game we had Pulteney versus Adelaide Lutheran, so again, Battle of the South Parklands. So it was Pulteney 11-8-74 to Adelaide Lutheran 4-4-28. Adelaide Lutheran goal scorers was Meagle with 3 and Byford chipping in, and best players was Milligan, Delsa and Grokey. For Pulteney, the goal scorers were Reid with 3, Duncan with 3 and Illman with 2, and a couple of other blokes that also chipped in. Best players Plunkett, Andrew Wather and Reid getting in there. So it was one that we actually did, I do believe we called Pulteney to win this one, and so we've come up with the cookies there on our own, but yeah, Adelaide Lutheran probably just falling very short there. So they've had a couple of inclusions in their ones, but not really following through down into their B grade. So an expected result from our point of view. The next game, which was out at New Vision Oval, or the old Leisure Reserve, out at Woody South, which was, they took on Colonel Light Gardens. So the result, unfortunately, for the home side was 8-7-55 to 15-15, 105. So obviously Colonel Light getting the jobs done there by 50 points. Goal kickers for Colonel Light were Bishop with 6, Day with 2 and Brown with 2, and a whole bunch of other guys pitching in with 1 apiece, which is great for them. Best players, Snell, Halfpenny and Bishop. For Woody South, we had O'Regan with 4, Talek with 3 and Johnson chipping in. Best players were Omenzetter, Matthews and, if I believe so, Tory Williams, one of my older gents from a couple of years ago at Portland. But yeah, unfortunately not getting the job done. So we'll see how they go next week when they take on as the Dolphins. I think it'll be a hard ask to follow that one up for next week. Last game of the round, we had Blackfriars Old Scholars versus CBC Old Collegians at St Dominic's Oval, Part 2. So we have Blackfriars 4-6-30 getting done by CBC 14-12-96. So a convincing win there for CBC, the Dolphins. I think I actually called Blackfriars to win this one, if I remember correctly, but you'll have to check out australiasports.com and have a look at the Magoos Corner with the review there to double check it. We've got Primus with 6, Bradley with 2 and Pudney with 2. Best players was Jay Pudney, Madigan and Primus. And for Blackfriars, the goal scorers were Curtis with 2, Glenn Holmes and Porcaro chipping in. And blessed players we had Curtis, Milne and Gates. So one-sided affair, well done to the Dolphins. So we move on to next week's games where we have Elizabeth versus Blackfriars at Argana Park. For me, Elizabeth quite easy. CBC versus Woody South, based on last week's results and what's happening out and about and all the rumours that we're hearing, I think CBC will get the job comfortably and get 2 in a row. And the next one we've got Colonel Light Gardens versus Rosewater at Mortlock Park. Now, looking at this one, I think Rosewater will be competitive, but Colonel Light for me on that one. And hopefully we don't see Huey in there in the 2s. Adelaide Lutheran versus Greenacres at the South Parklands. For me, that would be, I think Adelaide Lutheran will get a win there and get up on Greenacres, because I think Greenacres are still struggling. And lastly, we'll have Para Hills versus Pulteney out at the Paddocks. Pulteney in a canter. Unfortunately, sorry to the boys out at Para Hills, but I think Pulteney will get the job done there. So that's the wrap up for Division 5 reserves. Make sure you check out australiasports.com, see the SA Footballer magazine, subscribe, and it will be sent to you each and every week. I'm Trevor Gregg. Thanks very much for your time.